Hi, this is Diana from Yarnetta's Crochet with lesson 3 from our Learn to Crochet series. And the purpose of this series of lessons is to build up your foundational crochet skills so you can tackle any project that you have on your to-do list. So this video, like the other videos, is for beginner crochet students or anyone that needs a little bit of extra support working a double crochet stitch. Also for crochet teachers who need support materials for teaching their own students. Again, use timestamps. I'm going to add timestamps. If parts of the video get too fast, use the gear icon to slow the playback speed, and keep working on that playlist for your videos that you really like for your various stitches and things you're learning as you crochet, as you're learning to crochet. So lesson 3 is kind of a big lesson. So we're going to be focusing on learning the double crochet stitch. We're going to identify the turning chain. This is a really big deal. It's very important to understand turning chains because this is probably the biggest reason why individuals have crochet work stitches projects that get increasingly larger or increasingly smaller. It's usually because they've messed up on that turning chain. We need to double check that you know how to fasten off and weave in tails. I also want to make sure that you understand the anatomy of a stitch and identify that front and back loop of the stitch. We're going to practice double crochet into a swatch. We're also going to practice double crochet back loop only into a swatch. And then we're going to talk about home practice. Okay, so let's get started with our learning to double crochet into a swatch. Let's find our swatch. Okay, so when you double crochet into a swatch, it's a lot like half double crochet. It looks a lot the same at particular points. So I'm going to put my hook into the loop of the last stitch in my swatch. I'm going to yarn over just like I did with a half double crochet, and I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch. Make sure I have both loops. I'm going to yarn over just like with a half double crochet, and I have 3 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops only. Yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops on the hook. Make sure you're holding your work with your middle and your thumb, and you're tensioning that yarn with your pointer finger. So I'm gonna take my working yarn, which is attached to my ball of yarn, and I'm gonna pull it down a little bit to tighten up my tension. And I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to use my pointer finger of my other hand to hold that yarn over on the hook. Insert the hook into the stitch. I've got both loops. Yarn over, pull back through. 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is a double crochet. It's taller than a half double. Again, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to finish the double crochets in this row. So you can slow down or speed up as you choose. using the gear icon. I have a stitch marker at the end of this row that marks the final stitch of the row. And the final stitch of this row happens to be a chain of 3. So the final stitch needs to go into the top of the chain 3, not in chain 1, not in chain 2, but in that chain, the top of that chain 3, right in there. And I'm going to try to get 2 loops of that chain. So let me tension my yarn, yarn over, insert into the top of that chain 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, that's the last stitch in the row, so I'm going to move my stitch marker. I'm going to mark that last stitch. I'm going to reinsert my hook, tension my yarn, turn my work. Now I'm going to start the next row. To start the next row, I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. In this pattern of double crochet rows, this chain 3 counts as the first stitch. This is where the first stitch is. This chain 3 counts as the first stitch, so we do not go back into that first stitch. We go to the second stitch. Yarn over. Remove that stitch marker. Complete my double crochet. Now I have 2 double crochets because our chain 3, our turning chain, counts as a double crochet in this pattern. It's not always the case with every pattern that your turning chain in double crochet counts as a stitch. But typically, this is the traditional way to do rows in double crochet. I want to teach you the traditional way first, and later on I'm going to show you some techniques that you might want to use instead. But for now, it's really important that you use this method because it is easy to count stitches using this method. Where individuals get messed up is when they mistake, they add an extra stitch right in here, and their work gets larger and larger and larger, and they can't figure out why. So this particular swatch has 20 stitches in a row. So if I was to complete this row, I should have 20 stitches. So I'm going to very quickly finish this, and then I'm going to count my stitches. So you may want to speed up the video at this point. This also gives you an opportunity to see the continuous motion of a double crochet stitch, or at least how I do my double crochet stitch. Again, everyone is going to have their own spin or their own take on how they do their double crochet because everybody's hands are different. And that's okay. We're all individuals. But I like to show people one way to do it, and they can use that as their frame of reference and change things in ways that are comfortable and make sense to them. So I'm coming up on my final stitch, which is going to be a chain. So that means I need to double crochet into the top of that chain 3, because the chain 3 in this pattern counts as a stitch. That's why I marked it, because it can get confusing. So I'm going to go right into the top of that chain, top of the chain 3. And I'm going to count my stitches. This chain counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Whew! Glad I got that right this time around. Sometimes I mess up and I got to go back and figure out where I dropped a stitch or how I miscounted. So that's the double crochet stitch. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a double crochet in the back loop, which is a really kind of a cool stitch. I like it because it has what I call squish, a non-technical term, but it's a great stitch for sweaters. It's a great stitch for scarves, because it's that doing the double crochet into the back loop adds some nice drape and adds some nice softness. So I'm going to insert my hook into my loop. Let's get rid of this stitch marker. There we go. So if we look at the top of our stitches, we see our V's. I should have got out my needle to kind of help. I always forget to do that. Oh dear. Okay, so let me move this. Let me show you. So the next stitch that I'm going to be working into, here's the stitch right here. It has a front loop and a back loop. When you double crochet into the back loop, you just pick up that back loop only. Yarn over, and instead of going through both, you just catch that back loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. I'm going to do it again. Yarn over. I kind of stick it right in the middle of that V, and I pick up that back loop, grab the yarn, pull through 2, pull through 2. Let me do it again. I'm going to tension my yarn, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And the cool thing about this stitch is it makes this little ridge, and it's reversible, which means it's not going to be exactly the same on the back side, but you get ridges on the back side too. And like I said, it adds a really nice squish, really nice texture. You can do the same process, back loop only, with a half double crochet. It's one of my favorite stitches, is a back loop only half double crochet. It's really nice stitch. It looks like complex, and it's not at all. All you're doing is grabbing the back loop of the stitch. Okay, I have 2 stitches left. I see a V, and then I have the top of that chain, which is also a stitch. So I'm going to go into the back loop of the next stitch, work my double crochet. Now, at the end of a row, when I do back loop only, the final stitch that I work, I go through both loops. rather than just the back loop. It just keeps it a little bit straighter along the edge. And so I'm going to remove that stitch marker and yarn over, and I'm going to try to catch 2 loops of that top chain, of that final, of the top of the chain 3. 2 loops. Kind of splitting my yarns there, but I've got 2 loops there rather than just catch 1 loop. All right. So you can see the texture, you can see the rib. So if I was going to start my next row, since it's double crochet, I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn my work. Remember, this chain 3 counts as the first stitch. So I do not go into that first stitch because it's already done. The turning chain counts as a double crochet. So this next stitch I'm going to go into is right in here, and I'm going to catch the back loop of that next stitch. Yarn over, insert the hook, grab the back loop, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 2 stitches for the next row. Okay, great. I'm going to put a stitch marker here, and I'm also going to put a stitch marker, in the top of that turning chain, because that's the first stitch. That's the first stitch of the row. All right. The other thing I want to make sure that we practice is fastening off and weaving in a tail. So I'm going to complete this row of double crochets very quickly. This is not back loop only. This is through both of the loops. So this is regular. In fact, let's show you the difference. Where's the back loop only? Here's back loop only. You see the ridge? And this is through both loops. You can really see it if I hold it like this. You can see like the little divot right in the middle. This swatch is regular double crochet. I'm going to finish this row, and I'm going to fasten off. Oops. Oh dear. Better redo that. Okay. Here's the top of the turning chain, the chain 3. This is my last stitch. I'm going to count just to make sure I have my 20 stitches, because sometimes I mess up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ugh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, I got it. Okay, I'm going to fasten off. So I have my crochet hook in the loop. I've just finished my double crochet. Now I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and I'm going to leave a long tail, like 6 or 7 inches. And I'm going to get my scissors. I'm going to snip it just like that. This is the working yarn. I'm just going to pull it out and then give that a little tug. And you can see the little knot right there. That's the fasten off. Now, The reason why you need a long tail is because you need to weave in tails. So I'm going to quickly show you how I weave in a tail. Oh, there's my needle. So I'm going to start with my beginning tail down here. I have my yarn needle. I prefer to use a yarn needle with a bent tip. I find it easier to get into the stitches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my needle right into those stitches, and I can split yarns too. And I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to give my tail a little tug. I don't want to pull it too tight because this, you don't want that to happen. You want it to be not too loose, not too tight, and it doesn't distort your stitches. You don't want it to change. You don't want your weaving in sewing to distort your stitches. So there I did one direction. Now I'm gonna kind of go up a little bit, up through my double crochet. There's two directions. Notice how I'm not pulling it too tightly. I'm going to go up through here and kind of catch the loops of the yarn in the stitches. I'm going to go, that's 3 different directions. Usually that's enough to keep your tail from coming out, but I think I'm going to go down here, almost like I sewed a square with my yarn. I make sure I didn't pull it too tight. And then I snip my yarn. And that is weaving in a tail. And as you can imagine, if you have a blanket where you've changed colors a bunch of times, you're going to have a lot of tails to sew in, but that is the perfect activity to take with you to the coffee shop, to take with you in the car, to take with you to even if you're going to watch a movie. It's the kind of thing that it's a mindless activity. You just need to take your time and be careful. Okay, so that's a demonstration of that. Now, I want to go back to our lesson plan. We have finished all of the goals of our lesson plan for the day. And then the home practice, I will probably send home a swatch, a prepared swatch with my students so they can practice double crochet in the back loop only and double crochet, just regular double crochet and double crochet in the back loop only. If I have a very ambitious student, I want to make sure that I'm offering them some additional challenge if they so choose to take it. And what I will include is a pattern so that they can create their own double crochet swatch. And I want to demonstrate how to double crochet into a chain. So I've made my chain. It's a chain of 22. See, I messed up my pattern. It's actually a chain 20. Originally I had 23. It's actually a chain 22, and I just pulled out some chains. And then I'm going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, place a stitch marker in that stitch, and then I'm going to double crochet in each stitch to the end and place a stitch marker in the last stitch. Turn, and I'll have 20 double crochet. So let me move this out of the way. And I think I accidentally pulled out some chains. I got to count my chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I better double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, I got it. Whew. All right, so I need to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So here is the first one. Here's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, right in there. I'm going to try to get 2 loops of that chain. I'm going to pinch it with my fingers right there. Yarn over, insert into the 4th chain from the hook, pull through 2, pull through 2 to make my double crochet. See, what's happened now is that chain, this is a chain 3, counts as our first stitch. So we've got 1 stitch, 2 stitches, and now I need to go down the chain just like we did with a half double crochet. So yarn over, I'm going to try to get 2 loops of that chain on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. It's fiddly, not gonna lie. It's fiddly for me, it's fiddly for everybody. That's what it is, unfortunately. Yarn over, insert into the chain, try to get the 2 loops, pull through 2, pull through 2. This is why you need to make a chain that's not too tight. If it's too tight, you're going to be very unhappy because you're not going to be able to insert your hook into the chain. That's why practicing making chains is really good for your crochet skill, and it will have a positive impact on all of your projects. The more skilled you are at making chains that are not too tight, not too loose, but just right. It takes time and it takes practice. Like I said, it's fiddly. It's just hard to hang on to because all you have to hang on to is this chain. It's not like you have the swatch to hang on to. Remember to hang on to that chain near where you're going to insert your hook and use your thumb and your middle finger to hang on to it. Use pointer to tension the yarn. Okay, how am I doing here? If you can speed it up or slow it down as needed. Let me pull out some more yarn here. I had to turn that chain. You see how I had to turn it so I could see where to insert my hook? Right into that V. And it starts to look weird. Sometimes as the further down you get in the chain, it's like, where is it going? If you're not sure, kind of stretch it out and see if you can see the V. Okay, there it is. There's the next V right there. Doesn't look like it would be, but there it is. There's the V right here. I promise you'll get better with practice. I promise. But crocheting into a chain, it's fiddly for everybody. I don't care how experienced you are, it's still fiddly. Okay, I think I got it into that. Let me just show you that last chain. It looks weird. I yarned over here. Sometimes I hang on to that knot just so I can pull that last loop through. And then I kind of snuggle up that. Pull this out and see how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to need to mark my stitches here. So this, I'm going to mark my first stitch, which is the top of that chain 3. And I'm not going to mark this one because I'm going to chain 3 and make my first stitch of the row. Remember, turning chain counts as the first stitch. Don't go in here. You're going to add a stitch. You go into the second one in this pattern. Okay, there's the 2 stitches. Let's see, I'm just going to double check here. Here's 2 stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yay! I didn't mess up. So that's how you double crochet into a chain. Okay. We placed a stitch marker in our last stitch. Row 2, chain 3, we did that. That counts as a double crochet here and throughout. So we talked about that. Placed a stitch marker in the top of that chain 3, double crochet in each stitch to the end, place stitch marker in last stitch, turn 20 double crochets. This right here tells you how many stitches you should have in the row. And if you notice in the pattern, row 3, repeat row 2, 20 double crochet. Do this over again. Row 4, do this over again. Row 5, do it again. Then, at the end, you fasten off. And at the end, you should have 20 double crochets. And your finishing is to weave in your tails. On the side here, I have all the abbreviations. The CH is an abbreviation for chain. DC is double crochet. SM is stitch marker. ST is stitch. So if you're very ambitious and you're like, I'm ready, I'm going to do some pattern reading and I'm going to make myself a swatch, then go for it. If you're not ready, don't worry about it. No pressure, don't do it. You do it when you're ready. I did want to share with you a resource that I made for, I'm going to give it to my students. This is kind of a cheat sheet on how many chains you should make for single crochet, half double crochet, and triple or treble crochet, which we haven't demonstrated yet. But when you want to make a chain of, say, 10 stitches, you crochet 10 chains and then you add 1 for the turning chain. And then when you crochet into the chain, you single crochet into the second chain from the hook. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. For half double, you crochet any number of chains that you want. Then you add 2 for a turning chain. For a half double, you half double into the third chain from the hook. HDC is abbreviation for half double crochet. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. With double crochet, you crochet any number of chains plus 2 for the turning chain of 3. And it is a turning chain of 3 because you double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. The chain 3 does count as the first stitch. So this is kind of a cheat sheet for you. And I made a low ink version too that doesn't have any color on it. So people can have a low ink version. In fact, one of my ideas was to make a little card that they could put in their little pouches. And this basically has the same information for single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. So if you forget, what chain from the hook do I go into? Does the turning chain count as a stitch or not? This is just a little card that they can put in their pouch. Just as an extra little resource. All right. So, today we practiced double crochet into swatches. We practiced double crochet in the back loop only in a swatch. And we practiced double crocheting into a chain. And think about where you are now compared to where you were on the very first lesson. You really need to pat yourself on the back. Start to begin to look at patterns. Free patterns. Look at free patterns online if they will show you the PDF of the pattern for free. Don't go out and buy anything yet, okay? Just look at the patterns and say to yourself, okay, can I read any of this and understand any of it? And bring your questions to class, or think about what parts do I not understand? And make sure you're organizing your supplies. You need a plan for organizing your supplies so you have everything you need ready to go when you're going to be working and practicing on your projects. All right. That was a lot. That was a lot. And if you're having some frustration, that's okay. A little bit of frustration is okay. That means that you're learning and you're growing and you're challenging yourself. And as I've said before, crochet is not easy. Crochet is a skill. It takes practice and it takes time. And you're doing so much better than you probably think you are. So keep up the good work.